Welcome to the BleedRedblacks Podcast with your hosts Mike, Colin, Jeanine, and Santino. Produced by Mark and Johnny Z. BleedRedblacks starts now.
Hey, welcome to BleedRedblacks Season 3, Episode 3. We're back in the basement with a whittled down crew, but I like that. This is the efficient crew, right? Streamlining. That's what it's all about. It's 2016, man. I'm wasting. Seriously.
Where are you going with this?
I know I was going to start talking about Tesla, but no.
No.
Trip to Mars? No. Efficiency? No. Anyway, so we start this over again. Mike's not here. Can you tell? Producer Mark, what's up, buddy? Looking good?
Well, it's nice to be sitting in a chair again
Back-
as opposed to
back on the
crammed
mic.
into the control room.
Yeah, I'm used to staring at the back of your head. I'm not sure which side I like better. And
I'm sure which side. No.
Oh.
And Jeanine, what's up?
Hey guys.
You got a chair today.
I got a chair. I'm
Moving
not
up
on
in the
couch.
world.
I'm moving up. This is great.
So last week, I said, hey guys, I need a lot of help on the podcast. Anyone wanting to step up? This will be awesome. And
Crickets.
here we are.
And
Hey,
none
guys.
of you did.
So go Jays, go. We got to talk about the Jays. This is awesome. They somehow squeezed into the playoffs.
That was an awesome game.
Last night was super fun, aside from the one little fan incident, but who cares about that? It's Canada's team, and if you don't buy into it, that's cool, because for those of us like myself who probably watched 100 regular season games this year, this is exciting. This is
Yeah.
what I've been waiting for, so it's awesome.
It was a lot of fun for me. I don't watch 100 regular season games. My husband is a huge Boston Red Sox fan. My sister is a huge Toronto Blue Jays fan, and she was actually in town last night. So getting to watch the game with someone who follows the Blue Jays as religiously as she does, it was just such a cool experience. And staying up until that 11th inning, it was just, it was awesome. It was great.
Cool. And Mark, did you catch? You're probably watching the vice presidential debate, weren't you?
Guilty.
I know you too well.
I'm a giant political
You're
junkie.
so
We're gonna-
cerebral.
Yeah.
And I was trying to digest my birthday dinner last night. So
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
that's
happy,
right.
happy birthday.
one more spin around the sun, another 940 million miles traveled.
There you go,
Well,
bud.
kilometers,
Nerd.
technically.
There you go. Yeah, well, and I don't know about the precision there too. I'm sure I don't know how many decimal places. You might want to move that over a little
Yeah,
bit.
okay. It's not 3 significant digits, but it's close enough.
Come on, man. We're engineering here. We're not talking about. Come on. What the hell is this? Boo to more dill pickle shots. This is building up, and if the green whites keep winning, I'm gonna have to get our homies in Regina to send us another bottle of that.
We may need to get Responsible Choice on board for our season finale.
That's right.
I don't think any of us are going to be operating a motor vehicle from these.
Yeah, but I don't.
From this tally.
Well, that's okay. That's okay. Just get me to the transit station, and I'll just weave on the.
And if I never
Bust
see
all the
another
way.
bottle of dill pickle vodka again, it'll be too soon.
That's right. Yes, I don't know what's up with that. The green whites got a little charge in them or something, but
Yeah.
they probably heard about the dill pickle vodka thing, and they're like, "Let's fuck those assholes from Ottawa."
That's right. That's
That's what they get from making fun of our farmers market. Shout out to Janine's friend with the awesome Hamilton Tiger Cat shoes at the farmers market.
Oh
that
yeah,
I
that's
met last
right.
year.
That's right. She was wearing those great shoes,
Yeah.
and she's actually moved back out east, so she's not sticking out like a sore thumb anymore.
Okay,
in Regina,
yeah.
But that's right.
Cool. So quickly, so interesting time in Toronto this weekend. We actually had an interview lined up for today that we actually didn't work out due to the drama
The
unfolding.
turmoil.
Like this is the real deal. Like, I don't know, man. You cut your top 3 receivers. We're going to talk about this a little later. We're going to do a segment after this called 9 Teams in 9 Minutes. Mark's going to bust out the recorder and keep us on a tight schedule. So this should be awesome.
Schedule.
So the ship is sinking in Toronto, but you can buy a nice boat for $400,000. So Mr. Willie must be worth it, right?
Or you can buy the whole section, as you said, for
Hey-o.
$400,000.
Hey, you guys want to go to the Grey Cup? Hey, call your closest 80 friends and let's do this.
It's incredible. It's incredible.
They're not worried. They released a statement just today saying they're confident with their price point. It's a championship game in Toronto, and they're confident they'll sell those
Well,
seats. So
Winnipeg last year took a lot of flack for not selling as many tickets as they had hoped by this point. But the big difference was there weren't whole sections that weren't being bought in Winnipeg. So we'll see. With the Argos tanking as much as they are this year in the East, I just don't Last time Grey Cup was in Toronto, the Argos made it. They were a contender. They won that year. That's not the case this year. So I feel for those Grey Cup organizers. They got some work to do.
Well, not only the team does as well.
Yep.
So it's going to be interesting moving forward. The crossover is pretty much expected at this point, with Edmonton streaking and Toronto and Montreal just absolutely going into the gutter. So common for Montreal trips, but you know, can't win them all.
St. Catharines.
All right, let's rip into some little commercial or bumper or something, and we're going to come back and do 9 teams in 9 minutes.
Never again will you see rings on your table with the CFL-approved OLG Coaster Yellow Edition. It's easy. Go to your local OLG retailer, place a bet on a parlay with no research, watch your bet lose, and boom! Coaster! Bet on the Ticats to beat the Red Blacks? Coaster! Bet on the Argos to win the East? Coaster! Coaster come in a variety of price ranges from $2 to $100.
After Rake and Juice, you'll never be a long-term winner, but you will always win a coaster with OLG.
Welcome to Around the CFL on the BleedRedblacks Podcast.
Okay, 9 teams in 9 minutes. So what we're going to do, Jeanine and I are going to blast back and forth. We're going to have 30 seconds each to try to give our little synopsis of each team at this point. Some stuff will be awesome. Some stuff will not be awesome. But either way, we only have 30 seconds. So if I ramble like this, you're not going to get anything out of me. Hey, producer Mark, that was pretty awesome. Okay, so we're going to go west to east. So Jeanine, let's start in BC.
All right. So we in Ottawa are so spoiled with our all-star 4 receivers that it's really easy for us to forget just how good some of BC's receiving core is. I just want to remind everybody that they've got Gore, 768 yards so far. Arsenault already over 1,000 with 1020. Brian Burnham at 895, and now they've added Sinkfield, who brought in 1,030 yards last year. I think this is an explosive offense for us to look at moving forward. What do you think, Colin?
Wow, you did that awesome 27 seconds. Even gave me 3 seconds. Thanks, bud. Second in the West at 9-4. A nice surprise after a quiet offseason. Struggling at the gate, but crushing on the field. Canadian Andrew Harris has left for Winnipeg. Yet the Lions continue to lead the CFL in rushing and rushing touchdowns. In a league where the running game is taking a back seat, BC are proving that offensive balance has its upsides. Big Hill and Elamimium once again control the interior on defense and are dominating, and you beat them by throwing deep passes and exposing Brandon Stewart. He's terrible.
Nice work.
Calgary.
Let's go to Calgary. I don't even know what to say about the Stampeders that hasn't already been said. They've clinched the playoffs. Bo Levi Mitchell has steel running through his veins. John Cornish has been reincarnated in league-leading rusher Jerome Messam. I know anything can happen on any given Sunday, or in the CFL, I guess it could be any given Tuesday or Wednesday night. But who has a shot in hell of punching a ticket to the Grey Cup with these guys in the West? I don't think anybody does.
At this point, the only thing that we can really make fun of them about is the piece of shit stadium that they play in.
It is a piece of
that's
shit.
all I got. Just ask AJ. Apparently, it is worse than you think. This team constantly shows composure and discipline on the field in pressure situations. They're not only dominating on the field, but also dominating the CFL detective game. Hey, Chris Jones, keep your eye out for Mr. Levi. Look for their second Grey Cup in 3 years this season.
Absolutely. Edmonton's turning it on really late in the season after a poor start. And, I know we miss our Jason Moss on our sidelines over here, but he seems to have figured out his rhythm as head coach. He got off to that rusty start. Benavides has his defense back on track. And now they're just 1 win behind Winnipeg, which 3 games ago, nobody thought they'd be catching up to the team that went 7-1 on a little bit of a rampage there. And Winnipeg is on this losing streak. So the West is becoming more and more interesting, and now Edmonton and Winnipeg are going to be battling it out for a crossover.
Yeah, and scary crossover option for the East. Apparently, Eastern teams were told to hit the self-destruct button. Ottawa didn't get the memo, thankfully, but it has been a grind with Moss at the helm. How could anyone think this season was going to be easy after the transition they went through after the Grey Cup win last year? This team has 3 crazy, awesome wide receivers and a quarterback who can get them the ball.
That's right. Saskatchewan, 2-game win streak. Too much dill pickle vodka. Coming off a bye week, closing down Mosaic at Taylor and opening a new stadium. There is just way too much momentum building behind these Green Whites, and I don't like it. Oh, and they just signed Jeff Fuller. You might remember Jeff Fuller as one of Calgary's many explosive receivers before he was signed by the Seattle Seahawks. He was picked up by the Riders after the NFL cuts, and this guy is good. So good that when he left the Stampeders, people actually worried about Calgary's offense.
What? Saskatchewan, the official TMZ source of the prairies. Just when this team looked like it was going down that crappy old road, once again, it was going to roll over and die. They banged out a couple of back-to-back victories, and all of a sudden, fans in Saskatchewan across the league are taking notice. Tinfoil hats and watermelons aside, the ads that this team is putting in opposing cities is just getting stupid. Lighting your money on fire with no positive resultants is a D-Gen's dream, but a bizarre decision for a CFL team. Worst offense in the CFL and average 19.3 points per game. Brutal. All right, off to the peg.
Off to the peg, my hometown. After a 7-game winning streak, Winnipeg hits a 2-game losing streak. This is gut check time. If the Bombers are truly a good team, then they will have a strong game and bounce back against BC, which is what they absolutely need to do. If they are still the same old Bombers, and if the Matt Nichols experiment ends up being flat, then they revert to their mentally weak ways and cave in under the pressure. I still have faith that O'Shea has turned things around, but this week's matchup is huge for Winnipeg.
This team terrifies me. I don't want to consider this team an underdog based on their record the past few seasons. They have a new barn, new facilities, and an injection of much-needed enthusiasm. Andrew Harris is third in the CFL in rushing, despite a slow start and a banged-up O-line early. Their leading wide receiver is 18th in the CFL. So for those people who think the running game doesn't matter anymore, you may be wrong. Let's go to the Hammer.
The Hammer. I haven't seen the update.
Hey, we're finally back in Ontario. Okay.
Woohoo!
Just breathe now. Just chill. We're back in
country,
Ontario.
Big country.
We don't have to buy old Dutch chips anymore. We're in Lay's territory. Okay, good.
That didn't eat up my 30 seconds, did it? Okay.
You got 9 seconds left.
Haven't seen the update on Zach Caleros yet, but it looks like he might have sustained another head injury, and he has been concussed before, so you have to hope that he pulls through this okay, and I'm frankly worried about him. If he's out for the long haul, though, I got to admit, I like our chances in the East even more. I'm not scared of a Ticats team led by Jeremiah Masoli. I don't believe he has enough back-to-back good games in him, even if he can pull one out of his hat every now and then. I'd still rather face a healthy Zach because it's good for the league to have his kind of talent in it, but I'll take it.
You know what? Grumpy Cat was just starting to grow on me, you know? And it's funny because I absolutely hate the Ticats. I don't know why. They're just a really hard team to like. The fake 2015 MOP looks to be done for this season. And there is another team in the East. Looks like they need a facelift next year. All you Our Nation fans making the trip down there next week, don't forget to wear your protective equipment and keep your eyes peeled for falling speakers. Oh, and obviously don't drink the water.
Obviously.
Obviously. All right, let's go to the
Toronto.
6.
WTF is there to say about a coach who lets go of his top 3 receivers? Gurley, Elliott, Hazelton, all gone. Top stars, all of them in 2015. This year, nowhere to be found in the top league receivers. TO's highest ranking receiver is Kenny Shaw with 773, 17th in the league. Then Deontay Spencer with 559, 24th in the league. As Milanovic said, they aren't performing, so they're out of there. That's a statement.
Okay, don't have much for this one. You can buy a nice boat for $400,000. I went to the CNE once, and a bird shit on my hand. We actually have an official statement from season ticket holder Mike. I was gonna do an impression, but I can't. I actually practiced at work today. It's really hard. It's really hard. So the Argos remind us this week that the CFL can be a dirty business. 3 paychecks have been cut from the team. Read into it what you want. Attitude, preparation, and health are important in the CFL because GMs, under the right circumstance, will cut a player loose. There will come a day here in Ottawa, a bunch of Our Nation's jerseys will be on the discount rack. The logo never changes. The drive and the culture of winning will be here when the players are gone. Bleed Red Blacks. Thank you, season ticket holder Mike.
Plug at all.
Can I get an amen? Okay.
Amen.
On to
I thought you were going to say,
home.
can I get a what? No. Or a hallelujah.
Ottawa. As Santino said in his last 3 Down Nation article, the boys proved against BC that they can hang out with the big boys for the entire game. Still, we are just barely above 500, and only because of that tie against Calgary. And we have yet to take advantage of the fact that our conference colleagues are collapsing all around us, and we can't win another game while they lose one to create some distance. With the meltdown in Montreal, the implosion in Toronto, and the injury devastation in Hamilton, why aren't we further ahead?
Here in Ottawa, we're watching our team grow up right in front of our eyes. Lots of changes this year on both sides of the ball, and now that we have put the QB controversy to bed, let's start making our coaching staff accountable. Too many mental mistakes, too many penalties. We see the GM making some tough cuts. Maybe it's time for Campbell to give some tough love. Hey, Chris Williams, get your stickum out, son.
Montreal. Who the hell do those Owls think they are, laying a smack down to the Argos like that? That wasn't supposed to happen. Teams that have coaching changes often have a big boost right after. Remember, kids, the same thing happened last year when Pop, the one we've all been talking shit about. When he took over last year, they had a big win on the field, followed by a whole lot of losses. So good on you, Jacques Chapdelaine, for getting the win and for having the first sellout crowd of the year. But I don't think the Owls sustain this. There's plenty of other drama going on in that dressing room to ensure these guys don't pull it off.
Errors and omissions. I called him Ed last week. I'm not sure why. My dog must have been sitting on my lap as I wrote my notes. I'm like, Ed Chapdelaine? That doesn't sound very francophone. Anyways, even if they don't make the playoffs, let's be honest, tough schedule, and they would have to win out, so it's not happening. They proved last weekend that any team can win on any given week in the CFL. Playing spoiler not only motivates you for each game, but really showcases players for next year's team, and at this point, that's all they have. 9 teens in 10 minutes. Boom. 10:03? Not bad.
Not bad.
Hey, if it wasn't
We did have a statement about about Lay's chips, and we had a statement from season ticket holder Mike. So I think
not too shabby. Not too shabby.
Yeah.
Hopefully you will be able to understand what we were saying. I did my best to channel my inner Micro Machines commercial guy, but I'm tongue-tied at the best of times, let's be honest.
I'm pretty sure they sped his voice up when they made those commercials, too.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, he just ruined, my childhood. I used to tape those on VHS to rewatch them. No, I'm joking. Okay, so we're going to blast into Santino's rant this week. He is talking about the one and only Eugene Melnick. So let's go into a little Mean Eugene.
Intriguing.
Mm-hmm. Are you sick and tired of being heckled for selling hot dogs outside TD Place with no permit?
Hey, you got a permit for that, bud?
Or your worries are over with the new 123 hot dog permit kit from 613 Sneaky Sausage. Send us your money, we send you a permit. It's as easy as doing a backflip after a punt. This permit also works for oysters, corn on the cob, stinky tofu, and lemonade stands. Get yours before it's too late. This has been a paid advertisement by the BRB Group. BRB does not endorse or suggest this product, but if you send us $50, we will print you anything you want.
Welcome to the Red Black Renegade Rant with Santino Filoso.
Ottawa Senators owner Eugene Melnick needs to get his head out of his ass. I say that because of recent news reports that he absolutely refuses to consider the idea of an outdoor winter NHL game at TD Place, instead setting his sights on Parliament Hill. Before I continue, let's just make clear. I love the idea of an outdoor game on Parliament Hill. It would truly be an iconic moment in the city's sporting history, and the visuals of a rink with the Peace Tower as a backdrop would be stunning. But let's be real, while the idea is fantastic, the logistics of hosting a game on the hill are an utter nightmare. First off, as Sen's blog Silver 7 noted, you have dozens of government rules that prohibit everything from commercial advertising to charging admission to an event on the hill. Not to mention the rules that ban food and booze sales. Even something as basic as washrooms become an issue, because where do you put them? Secondly, while you could in theory fit an NHL-sized rink on one of the lawns, how many temporary stands could be built and how many fans could they hold? You'd have to figure at most 10,000, and that's really being optimistic, I I think. Thirdly, and most importantly, security concerns would be a nightmare. But let's get back to Eugene. His team president, Cyril Leader, conducted an interview recently in which he claimed the Sens hadn't even considered the possibility of having the game at TD Place and that they haven't reached out to OSEG. Meanwhile, OSEG has repeatedly gone on record saying they would love to help the Sens host the event and that their venue would be more than capable of it. And they're completely right. The Grey Cup is already coming to Ottawa at the end of November in 2017, and temporary seats will be installed to boost TD Place's max capacity to around 40,000. An NHL rink could easily fit on the field, concessions and washrooms are already in place, and OSEG is experienced when it comes to holding big events. It's a complete no-brainer from a logistical point of view, but Melnyk refuses to consider the idea because apparently he's still holding a grudge about losing out on a bid for a soccer stadium in Canada to OSEG, who instead went on to win their Lansdowne Live redevelopment bid. I've seen a lot of support online for a Hill game from fans, but I have to admit that I just don't get it. Even if it winds up happening, as the capacity will surely be lower than TD Place's 40,000, Ottawa fans will pay through the nose for tickets. More tickets equal cheaper prices. Plain and simple, if there's only a few thousand seats, you can bet the NHL will hike the prices because they know demand will be high. The average person has a much better chance of being able to afford to go to the game if it's held at TD Place. It's really a moot point though. Sens fans already know that Melnyk does things his own way. After all, this is the same man that drove Alfie out of town over $1 million. It just drives me crazy because it truly does seem to be a no-brainer to use the temporary stands that will already be in place at Lansdowne as opposed to banking on the unlikely prospect of dozens of government regulations and city bylaws being waived. Hopefully, Eugene comes to his senses and doesn't screw up Ottawa's first shot at an outdoor NHL game. That's all for this week, guys. Rant back at RedBlackGade, and remember to bleed red blacks.
Sometimes you need to go back, and then back some more, to actually move forwards or sideways. I don't mean go back as far as a streetcar, but maybe halfway back, like to the 50s. I know there are those who say that they can't take the bus. Yes, you can. You just have to be going to the right place. TD Place. Why park and ride when you can ride and park? I've been stuck at Herman Station for 45 minutes, and I don't quite know why. OC Transpo, where backwards is the new forwards.
Welcome to the Coaches Roundtable on the Bleed Red Blacks Podcast.
Game preview. No more dill pickle shots, please. We had a tough loss already this year against the Green Whites. Milo. I saw your note. It's
You
Milo.
saw my
it's
note.
Milo.
I thought we promised.
It's Milo. Hey, it's just the notes. We don't follow them
We don't
anyway.
follow them.
We don't even read them half the time. Let's ask Mark. With the East reeling, the Red Blacks have to take this opportunity, right? It's going to be awesome. So, Jeanine?
Hell yeah.
Woohoo! Woo! Sass is coming off back-to-back wins for the first time since, I don't know, I was able to shave. Sad thing is, it wasn't too long ago. And they're finding ways to win, something that we need to learn how to do. So, Jeanine, you want to get us rocking and rolling with a little game preview, keys to game offense?
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk first about Harris, who he had a great game. He threw one interception against BC, but he threw for 485 yards of offense, and it was an offensive shootout for sure. But I really liked what I saw coming out of Harris, and he seems to be kind of re-upping his game after post-injury. So I like that, and I really want him to keep it up.
Well, I mean, he was off for a while.
Yeah.
And it takes a few games
For
to get
sure.
going. And he hadn't been around a long time when he did get hurt.
No.
And you can't let those results from 1 week kind of jade your perception of how well or familiar he was with the system. So.
No, exactly. And, you know, he looked great. We didn't get the win, but he did look great. And I think we can expect to see more of that from him. What I really liked in the game against BC and what I kind of want to see more of is how they used our fullback, Pat Lavoie. That dude is big. and he can be dangerous when he's used. He scored our first touchdown, if you guys remember, in Grey Cup last year. So throwing him into the mix is a great thing, and I really would love to see more of that. Now, you can't overuse him because then it's not a surprise. But it's nice to throw him in every now and then on one of those plays. And then the last thing I just want to say about offense is our O-line, without Sir Vincent, it makes me nervous enough, but it makes me even more nervous because Harris was injured in Saskatchewan, against Saskatchewan, because of an O-line mishap. So, guys, you really got to protect Harris this game and make sure that he comes out of this one healthy.
I'm with you. And at this point, I don't want to get back into the... I like seeing Hank as a healthy backup. I think that's perfect for him right now.
Yeah.
So it's obviously safe to say we can put some points on the board. At this point, the emphasis has to be really put on improving the fundamentals. We're still dropping balls. We're not using the clock wisely. We're not spreading the field and are still struggling horribly in the red zone. I think with a few tweaks, this offense could be really scary.
Yeah, let's get the offense back to 2015 and not 2014, because those fundamentals were our problem in 2014.
Absolutely. Now the running game, I don't know why they're not running the ball more. I spoke earlier about how the success that BC is having with the running game, and we got to get Madu the ball. Gillanders and LaFrance need to get involved as well. We are making better use of our receivers by spreading the ball, but let's still keep those big dudes on the D-line on their toes, and our O-line really needs to step it up.
You got to rock the Fossey Carsey.
There you go.
Our offensive line is just killing it. 1 sack and 45 dropbacks is incredible. I like those numbers on the pro line any day of the week. Keep that up, and Harris will stay healthy and keep ripping apart the defenses.
Sounds good. Easy for you to say.
I
Fuck, you should be on the mic more often. This is amazing.
Feels like a Looney Tunes podcast all of a sudden.
folks.
All right, defense. Sask have the worst offense in the CFL, averaging 19.3 points per game, and this is an awesome opportunity for the Red Blacks defense to regain some confidence after getting absolutely torched last week. Our DBs look lost, I'm going to be honest. I think that we need a couple more big guys back there. And Saskatchewan have a serious wide receiver that we need to keep our eyes on, and Jeanine will get into him shortly.
So we have a league low right now with 8 interceptions. Someone in the D blocks has got to step up. Mitchell White got beat a few times last week, despite being in good position. Maybe he bounces back with a turnover or two.
And I talked about Jeff Fuller. I'm assuming he's suiting up. He's a really talented receiver. He's a big dude, 6'4", 225 pounds. Got his shot in the NFL with the Seahawks and was released. I do expect him out there, and I expect him to want to make a mark early. Our DBs need to be prepared for a big, explosive receiver who was overshadowed last year only because, he was injured and he played with the phenomenal Eric Rogers, and everybody looks like me next to Eric Rogers, but Jeff Fuller's a really good,
That's pretty good.
Right?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I wish
can
I
catch.
looked like you.
I hurt my thumb when I catch a baseball. Okay, so I'm not the right person to put in the wide receiver.
Jeanine, you're doing it wrong.
In fairness, I was making a tag, but you get my point.
Meanwhile, 3 people pull over and say, "Where you need a ride, young lady."
There's a joke in there about first base, but I'm going to keep it to myself.
Winnipeg first base. Hey-oh. It's like hitting for the cycle.
Now, back to receivers. You talked about the phenomenal wide receiver who goes by the name of Namon Roosevelt. The last time we played against him, guys, he racked up 182 yards and a touchdown against us. 182 yards. That is incredible. So we really have to stop him. And I'm not sure if Durant or Gale will be in for the Riders. I haven't really followed closely enough to know if Durant left the last game early with something that's going to be a little bit more long term. But either way, D-line, get to the QB, get to him often, shake him up. This is our barn, and let them know that.
Sounds good. I like it. And it's going to be loud. It's going to be sold out. There'll be lots of green jerseys there, but that always makes for a really fun environment. So I'm always stoked when to see those guys in town. It's always fun.
Go shopping for your watermelons early because they probably will sell it too.
Well, obviously. Yeah, that's right. I don't really think it's watermelon season. Like, you probably get easier time just getting a gourd, right?
Paint it green.
Yeah,
Paint
You ever
that
tried to
pumpkin
hollow out a
green.
gourd?
Festive pumpkin.
Shit's hard. Okay. Lastly, special teams. Jeanine, let's do this.
All right, Milo, you went 4 for 6 against your old team last time. Redemption in more ways than one is yours. It's your former team. They let you go. You didn't do well against them last time. You got this. I want to see you do it. We had some respectable punt and kick returns last week with an average of 16 on both. That's good, solid yardage. I'll take it. I'll take it any day.
There was a little bit of arc to those
A little bit of
punts,
arc.
little rainbow action, yeah.
But is it just me, or is our punting not looking so good? So when you look at Medeiros and compare him to Leone last week, Leone averaged 51, Medeiros 37. So that was in a covered stadium. So what's going on with Medeiros? Guys, do you have any thoughts? I don't know. I'm worried about our punting.
I think we've switched so much. Like, I think we just need to pick a dude and just stay with him. And I don't know why it seems to be such a huge drop off. And when you figure how many people around the world are good at taking their foot and smacking it against an object and making it go in a direction, like, there's got to be someone somewhere that can kick a goddamn field goal and punt the ball, right?
Consistently, because Medeiros started okay. Like, he
Right,
started.
right.
We were down here in this basement talking about the beautiful arc. Gave us time to set up our blocks. Went far.
No hot dog cannons. Yep.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on.
It's
but I'm worried.
it's obviously a tough gig, and it's a real mentally tough position, and it's a thankless job. You screw up, you hear it. You do well, you're the punter.
You're
right?
only on the field for 4 or 5 plays a game,
Right.
and if you even duff 1 or 2 of them, you're gonna it's gonna be hard to shake.
It's
that
tough. I just think the constant rotation, you don't get that dynamic with the center. The holder seems to be changing a lot too. I think a lot of the factors go into it. I may be making excuses, but I think they just need to be better. So last game, Jamil should have never caught that punt at the end of the game. You could see him shouting to the bench prior to the play, looking for instruction. And at this point in the season, there's zero excuse for that. He caught the ball inside his own 5, and I honestly believe he just wasn't sure what to do.
Yeah.
And obviously, in hindsight, it would have been worth the risk of giving it the opportunity to bounce into the end zone and giving us that extra yardage. Special teams is tough. I realize that, but he needs to know what to do before he goes on the field.
And it's those small mental mistakes that cost you a game.
I don't want to see a guy waving his arms and yelling at the sidelines. Yeah. That conversation should have been had before he got on the field.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Special teams coaching needs to be a non-stop educational process for these young players, especially those from the USA. It's just imperative. You can't neglect to not only teach them, but review and teach and teach and teach and teach. It's tricky, man. And little incidents like that last game, it was pretty much a nail in the coffin at that point. One last thing. Can we just convert all of our red zone opportunities? Then Milo can just go back to kicking 1-pointers all night. Like, that would be awesome.
Yeah, the bread and butter of his career, right?
That's right.
Speaking of Milo, bet on the money because Chris Milo is back.
Ooh.
Money Milo hasn't missed a kick in 2 weeks, and as the temperatures drop, his game heats up.
It's true, right?
Oh, it's very true.
I mean, the dude spent time in Saskatchewan. You're used to it being cold, right?
Went to school in Montreal, and now plays football in Ottawa. So he better
be okay with cold.
He better hope. Thankfully, he's got some insulation. Well. Shit! I promised I wouldn't say anything. Damn it! Oh God, are we so close? So close.
Dear Chris Milo, I tried really hard to keep them on the rails.
Hey, no, at least I didn't bring up Nick Lewis this week. Man, that guy's awesome.
It's not too late.
Whatever. We got next week. It'll be just Mark and I. We can just talk about food the whole time. All right. Yeah, so let's get a win this week. No more dill pickle vodka. I think it's going to be a tight match. I think that we got 2 pretty equal teams. I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think it's going to be one that has to turn things around and distance itself in the West, and one who's got something to prove to its fan base. That it took us some time to find our way, but. So it's going to be a good game. And on a personal note, my dad is coming to his first game at TD Place with me. He's in town this week. So
does he want to meet at the Dominion for a beer before we go?
My dad's not a big drinker. I really wonder if I was adopted.
Fine,
actually.
then a pickled egg there.
Yes, right.
When in Ottawa, you have to do certain traditions.
Sorry,
I could see him having a big Coke while I pound back a couple
sounds
beers.
all right. Some
and
cheering juice. You
That's
always
right.
need that, right?
That's right.
Support your local dentist. All right, let's bounce into a bumper, and then we'll come back and get the heck out of here.
Right on.
And now, producer Mark reads football tweets, even though he has no idea what he's talking about.
Hey, the offensive linemen are the biggest guys on the field. They're bigger than everybody else, and that's what makes them the biggest guys on the field. Henry Burris usually likes to soak his balls before any rainy game. Soak 'em long, soak 'em hard.
Okay, so that was fun.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming in, guys. Jeanine, thanks for helping me out. Thanks for coming on the mic, Mark. And
I was supposed to say, you were thanking me for coming to my own house, or
just thanks for turning around in your chair. It's not on a swivel, so there was some rotation
there's a
required.
little bit of effort involved.
It is a 4-leg chair.
It is
I
a
told you to
4-leg
buy
chair.
a one-legged one, but apparently that's there's a design flaw.
The mono seat.
It's called a log. So I don't know about you guys, but I'm going to watch the shit out of some baseball.
I'm going home to watch my dad's a huge NL fan, so I'm going
Okay.
home to watch the NL
Amazing.
wild card
What
tonight.
a great time of year, and whether you like baseball or not, it's fun, and it's nice to see Canadian teams doing well and letting the Americans see how much we care about their game. And I'm loving it.
That was
It's a lot of
invented
fun.
in Canada.
And yeah, okay. We're not talking about basketball, are we?
No. That was actually technically invented in the States. By a
Naismith?
Canadian.
Basketball was
Yeah.
invented by a Canadian.
Canadian
though.
in the U.S.
Because baseball isn't it actually
Baseball
from
was a
one
derivative of a British game for girls called rounders,
Okay.
which is why a lot of Brits laugh at the baseball fandom in the U.S. because
Okay,
it's
don't worry,
something-
guys. We can edit this stuff out later. No.
And in 1794,
Turn into a Trivial Pursuit
Well, we
podcast.
between segments we were talking about the Jeopardy quiz you can do online, and Mark, I swear, but one day, bud, one day, I'll be right there cheering
trove
for you.
useless knowledge upstairs.
What
oh.
is a girls' game called Rounders?
Indeed.
I'll be the only guy in the audience with a huge oversized Mark Routhier head.
Percival, what do you think?
Anyways, thanks guys. Really stoked to watch some baseball, some football this weekend.
Yeah.
The weather's been amazing here. This week is just awesome. Get outside, enjoy your last few chances to go for a bike ride, hang
get
out
some
outside. Oh,
Yep.
it's gobble gobble
Yeah.
weekend, so
Oh,
And,
look out!
Turkey din din.
Time to
Pumpkin.
invest in some Zantac and like a
Pumpkin
fucking
pie.
wheelbarrow load of it.
got my sweatpants already set aside upstairs. I'm good to go.
And you guys be good while I'm gone. I'll be in Italia for 3 weeks.
Yeah,
so
that
you
sounds
guys,
amazing.
Take care. Be good. Be good to each
Vacacare,
other.
italiano non sono buono.
Oh, parlo italiano.
Seriously?
un piccolo po'. Un
It directly
piccolo
translates
po'.
to go take a shit, you know good Italian. But when you work in construction, you have to learn
You
how to
learn
talk to
that
the concrete
kind of-
finishers.
Those aren't the types of conversations I plan to have in Italy, but that's okay.
I should have told
Well,
you
you
it was the
don't-
formal greeting.
Jeanine knows you better than that.
Don't trust Routhier.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, well, have a safe trip,
Thank
Jeanine. The next 3 weeks, I don't know who's going to be in here next week. Mark and I for sure.
Yeah, that's a guarantee.
The following week, we have Ken from the Lumberjoes and AJ Jackieback from TSN 1200. That's going to be a really fun gig. And then the following week, I'm gone. I'm missing my first ever show. That's going to be weird.
So it's going to be
What?
Mark in the basement
It's
by
gonna
himself.
Talking
it's
to
Mike.
myself?
Mike will be here.
Oh, okay.
Oh, Mike will be
Um,
here. Oh, that's
so-
right. He's
Yeah.
going to sit in
He's
that
gonna
chair.
sit. No, he's not.
No, he's not.
We went over this. Jeanine, I swear to God. Oh, wait. I got to ask you guys a question. What's your favorite 4-letter word?
Oh, Rio.
Payday.
Especially.
Double stuff that shit. There you go.
Mark, we only waited 3 years for this.
Hey, you know what? The payoff just tastes sweeter when it takes time.
Well, you know,
Colin.
I honestly, I thought that in my calculations that the double stuff would kind of make up for lost time.
Is this
So-
our Christmas bonus?
That's right.
Oh, by the way, I kept the receipt. I'm going to write it off. But anyways, we'll worry about that another time. Have an awesome weekend. Jen, have a great trip.
you,
Mark,
thank
I'll see you next week.
Right
and
on.
I'm actually going on the Piffles podcast tonight.
Yes, say hi to them for me. They're such a fun crew.
I will for sure. We're going to
love
talk.
what they're doing out there.
Talk a little football. Yeah, they're doing really well. I guess they couldn't get the commish again. I don't know.
Yeah.
So the next best thing is
Show off.
some loser from Ottawa. So boom shakalaka. So I'll make sure to call them out on that. Like, wow, your guest list is getting thin when you reach out to me. Really? This is amazing. I should just cancel. Anyways, so I'll be on there tonight. So check that out. And anyways, dudes, thanks so much. And I'll talk to you all this time next week.
Right on.
Woo.
Thank you for stopping by on this week's episode of the Bleed Red Blacks podcast. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at BleedRedblacks or like us on Facebook at facebook.com/Bleed Red Blacks podcast.